Greetings, Greg here again with another video helping you transform your business, helping you transform your life. In this case, this video is going to be kind of to keep you from maybe messing things up and making your life harder, because this is going to be about backing up your systems, especially if you're using Odoo. This is designed to show you how to create an automated backup that'll automatically back up your database, and then even more so, show you how to copy that database using SFTP to another server somewhere so you have an offsite backup of the data as well. So please, if you like this video, go below, click like, click subscribe. It really helps us out. And please leave a comment. Let me know what things that you do to back up and maintain business continuity with your company and with your business platform. So to get us started here, I basically have just a simple database set up, and I installed the sales application just so we had some app in there so that we can really work with Odoo and get to all the technical settings that we need. And so the first thing we're going to want to do is actually get the automated backup software module. Now it's available for free on the Odoo App Store, and we can come here to the Odoo App Store. You can just really search for database backup. The link to it's here. I'll remember to add that at the bottom inside of the description. And I'm going to do this for Odoo 15, but you'll notice that this is really available all the way back to Odoo 8. In fact, I have an Odoo 8 one I did a long time ago, now many years ago. So I think it's time to do another one because this is a really important part of being able to manage and keep your system secure and have good business continuity, because really the best protection against hacking, bad hard drives going bad, servers crashing, all kinds of weird issues that can corrupt databases. Your best, insurance against something going wrong is a backup. And if it's automated, it takes it out of your hand and it's going to happen. And you can even set it up to automatically email you as well. So it's a nice free app. And you want to give a shout out to this good guy right here. And he's been doing this for a while, and he's a great Odoo expert. And so we will begin by basically downloading this. And so you can hit download and just download it locally. Now, I almost always am going to take, anytime I'm working with a new database or I'm working on any kind of project of some kind, I'm almost always in a local development environment. I will make sure everything works there, organize it, and then I'll use and push it to GitHub and pull it down onto a server. If you need help with Odoo development in general and managing Odoo applications and administering an Odoo database, I would highly recommend that if not through me, through another partner, you get professional help and spend the money to do that correctly. Trying to do all of it yourself, and especially if you haven't set up 8 or 10 ERP systems before, and at least several Odoo systems before. It's just not the kind of thing you want to learn as you're going along. It'd be like literally trying to build your house while learning how to build a house. Instead, you might have the kind of house you want, but you let a professional put the house in place. And so that's my recommendation. I do have some courses that can help people walk through the process and learn and get up that learning curve quickly. I will put them up here real quick, and you can find links down below to them if you would like my assistance in implementing Odoo or helping you with these kind of technical or customization issues. So once you have it downloaded, you're going to unpack it because this is just a regular zip file. And then what you're going to want to do is put it into your add-ons folder. So here in my system here, I have a configuration, and I use Visual Studio Code. Again, I cover a lot of how to set these things up in my courses, and I'm sure any partner you would work with would be able to help you with this as well. But basically, I have a configuration here that I can look at really quick, and you'll see that I have an add-ons path added on here to my add-on. So this could be something that could help you set this up if you really are new to it. And so this is how it knows to look in there, and I can come over here to the folder, and you really just want to drag that downloaded application in here. So now that auto backup, all it is, this is basically just dragged and dropped right from that zip file here. And so when we go in now, we can actually see this auto backup by coming in here, and you can click Update Apps List. Now you're going to want to make sure you have developer mode on. Anybody who's to the point of probably doing automated backups and setting all this kind of stuff probably already knows how to do that. So hopefully for everyone that's involved to this point, this is going to be the easy part. And then so now I can come here and I'll say backup. And we'll see that we have this database auto backup. You're going to want to install it. So that's the first step. And it'll refresh. And then we can come back here to settings. And down here under technical, you will find a configure backups. And just choose configure backups here. And you notice that you can have multiple backups and different hosts and ports. So it's a really flexible application. I'm going to hit configure backups. And we'll see here that we have the local host. In this case, I want to say localhost 8500. I think that'll work. And then it's automatically going to pull the database name here. And actually, I'm on port 8500, so that means that tells me I don't need that there. So I'm just running on a different port because I'm using 8069 for something else. But typically, this would be 8069 on most locals. I almost always use zip here, and that's really what you want, because the dump, I believe, just brings in the SQL. And it doesn't bring in all of the file store. It just dumps out the SQL. So you really want the file store, which is going to hold your images and other things that, and attachments and things such as that you have associated with that particular database. And then down here is the SFT part. But what I always recommend is at first we'll just do test it out with just this backup part of it. And so here you'll notice that it says backup directory is /odoo/backups. Well, that's not really going to work for us because that's not my backup directories. And so I want to show you how that works. I could basically push it into any folder I want that I just create up here and have the right permissions on. But for right now, I'm just going to put it into the My Add-ons folder. And you can see here ones that I've made that I used to test it right here. So I can make this folder just as an example so I don't complicate my own directory structure here locally. And so, for example, I would say opt Odoo 15 / and so this is a root path type directory. And then I would say opt 15 my add-ons like that and save. And so this is like the very basic setup. Now to actually run the backup, scheduled actions, operations. I want the scheduled actions here under the backup scheduler because it has a run manually here, and I can click run manually and it's going to run that backup right there, and it will have happened, and I can come and look, and here under my add-ons there's the backup, and you'll see it's right here, and this is backed up the database for me. Now to automate that and make the database automatic, it's just as simple as turning it on here, making this active, and I can edit this and turn it active, and I could have it back up, you know, every 12 hours, for example. You could even, like in a daily basis, like if in a company that really wants to be careful, you could have it back it up every couple hours, for example. And then you could also obviously just run another manual one anytime you want. So that's all there is to it to set up the automated backup part. That's really the easy part. So now what we would want to do is create a way to upload this to an SFTP server. Okay, so now I SSH'd into my to a terminal inside of Visual Studio to a server in the cloud, because obviously you're going to want to have this somewhere where wherever you deploy your database to and wherever you set it up, it's going to send it out to somewhere where it's safe. And this one I'm using, I have not installed the SFTP for, and so that way I can walk you through this process. So we're going to begin by changing some of the configuration and the security. So this is the command I'm going to use, and if I get enough comments, I'm going to say if I get 10 comments, because I need comments, I need likes, I need subscribes, that's how YouTube finds us, I will put in a link to give you all of these commands. It's not that hard to find these on Google, and I can give you a link to that as well. I'm hoping to give people some encouragement, to have some engagement. Helps a lot, make these YouTube videos worth doing. So I'm going to sudo nano this and bring this up. I could have also done this without going through nano up here, but I'm just going to go ahead and use the terminal because a lot of people are going to have the terminal, I'm aware. And then there's going to be some commands that we need to add to the bottom of this file. So you just go all the way to the bottom and paste these in. So these are basically commands that are going to tell SSH, the security layer of Ubuntu, basically how to handle the SFTP server. And so we'll write this out and close it. And then once we do that, we are going to have to restart the services. And so I'm going to do that right now. And that'll restart the SSH services and take our newly changed file. So now we want to create some kind of users group for our SFTP. We obviously don't want to use root like I'm in now to do everything I need to do. I probably shouldn't be having to say sudo here. So for example, let me just show you. I don't need to do sudo there. So only, I'm like logged in as root, but if you're not logged in as root, which a lot of people won't be if you're using like AWS, they automatically don't give you a direct root server. This is I believe a RAM node server, RAM cloud, and so they just have a little bit different security configuration. I'm not saying that this logging in as root is probably best case or best practices, but it works, and as long as you keep your private key secure, your public key secure, and then you keep everything. I should say your private key secure, and your password, because this is actually password protected. The server is as well. So we want to add that group, and so I can come in here and I apologize, I've already had that in the clipboard, but I can just come in here and we can just do add group SFTP, for example. And when I click that, that's going to add an SFTP group to our Ubuntu server. And now we want to actually create a user for this server as well. So I'll come in here and we will add a user. And this is just the syntax that we use. It's saying that this is the group and this is what we're going to do to add this user to this group. And now we're done with that. Now we want to set a password on this group as well. And so we're going to want to do that. And here's where I will probably put in a pretty long password because this is a real server for me, and I don't really want people getting on it. So I named it this. Oh wait, that's right. So I named this SFTP as the group. This is the user of that group. And so when I say that, that basically is going to say what the new password is going to be. And so I'm going to make a very cryptic and long password that nobody can possibly guess. And I'll get that and paste it and paste it again. And now I have that password. Nobody knows what it is because I can't see it, but trust me, it's there. And I have a password in there. So now we're going to need to grant permissions to the directory that was created when we made this user. And so that's a really simple command. Remember, you're going to put sudo in front of these. I actually took the sudo out. I forgot. But if you're not root, you're going to need the sudo in front. And it doesn't hurt to have the sudo anyway, so I might just keep that on. And so that is good enough now that we could test this out through like WinSCP or something like that. And that's what I would probably recommend at first, is to just get, WinSCP and log in through that before, trying to go back and hook it up through through Odoo 15. So if you have any questions about your installation, look up WinSCP. I don't want this video to get super long. And so I'm not going to do that in this video, but because I'd like to keep it under 20 minutes if possible. But that would be one thing that I did when I was working through this, is I tested it in WinSCP when I had a couple of glitches and things like that of trying to figure things out. So, but now that this is really the setup that's done here on this side of things, we can now go back to our other backup scheduler, and we'll go back here to our configure backups. We're going to edit this backup, and we'll notice that down here there's an SFTP part. There it is. Checkbox there. So the first thing it wants is the IP address to the SFTP server. So I'll paste that in here like so. And then, it defaults it to that port right there. Now it wants to know the username. So you just come in here and paste that. And then we come in here where it says password user SFTP. I'm going to paste the password in here. And it hides it so you don't know what it is. Now it wants to know what the path to the external server is. Well, that's pretty easy because we can just go jump back into here and look at our code here and see that this is the path right here. And go like that. Copy. We don't need the home on here. So it knows when you log in, that is your home directory. So it's kind of like from there on is what we're defining here. So this is then the path. And obviously, with an FTP server, you can set up other folders and folders for backup. This is just a really simple example to show you how to get started. But this is where the actual external of the path to the server is going to be instead of home. I had home on here in front. So this is what we wanted. And I just have to come back here now to our scheduled actions, backup scheduler, and let's run it manually. And now when it runs manually, now you'll really notice it's going to take a lot longer because it's actually having to both do the backup and then upload this to the FTP server. And so let's just jump over there, because the one thing I found out is it had backed up a whole bunch of them locally, and as soon as I got this working, then it started backing them all up to the FTP server all in one shot here. Actually timed out my local server because I didn't have any Nginx or any HTTP protocols or anything like that. But you can see it just finished here, no errors or anything. And if I come over and I look at our server now, this is our FTP user, and you can see each of these database backups right here now on the SFTP server on the cloud. And so with this setup, it's just going to continually keep every, whatever you set up in the scheduler for the backup, it's going to automatically back it up, and it's going to automatically send it to that SFTP server. Obviously, here's where you're going to come to get your latest backup or the most appropriate backup you need in case you ever need to restore. So hopefully that video has been really helpful for people that are trying to set up automated backups. As I said earlier on, if you haven't spent a lot of time building systems like this, implementing ERP systems, and have done it successfully, then get some help from people. If not me, get it from another Odoo partner. And there's also a lot of just great Odoo developers and people that are good at integrating Odoo out there. Do your homework, obviously, but it's like I said, you don't want to be trying to learn how to do this thing if it's your baby and your company, and you're really trying to do it right, because you're going to miss things aren't going to get configured right, and then it's really hard to undo things when you're like halfway through an implementation, or even worse, a couple of months in, and you realize that you just don't have your chart of accounts figured right if it's accounting, or you don't have your push-pull rules, or your routing's configured right if it's manufacturing, or if it's sales, you're not going to have everything configured right in your price lists and all these other things. And once you start getting transactions in and you start really running things, it can be really hard to get and back out of that especially if you're new to it and haven't had experience implementing a lot of these systems. As I said, I do have courses that I provide that I really try to help people, give them a beginning to end education on how to implement these things, and they're great. I do think everybody should try to learn as much as they can about Odoo. You should build as much internal education as you can, but don't be afraid to reach out to people that are experienced doing this, so that you make sure that you're following a set of practices and principles that's going to guarantee you as best as possible that you're going to have a good implementation. Many thanks for watching. I really appreciate everyone's support, the likes, the subscribes. They really help. As I said, if somebody wants to leave some comments down below, I've kind of set a target. If I can get to 10, then I'm going to give you guys the full walkthrough, and I'll promise you another Odoo video as quickly as I can get one out to you. So much appreciated, and I hope this was a help.